Greetings, viewers. Night here, bringing you another review. So, it's October, the month where everyone celebrates all that is dark, creepy, and disturbing. And I have some treats for you. However, before we get to the good, we also have to go through a bit of the bad first. Because today's review is on an episode of Digimon Adventure 2. Like I assume a lot of people, grew up watching the Digimon anime on Fox Kids distributed by Saban. If you're unfamiliar with Digimon, allow me to catch you up. Digimon was created as a virtual pet as a means to compete against Tamagotchi. However, while Tamagotchi were cute little animals for girls to play with, Digimon were monsters little boys could use to fight with. Digimon proved to be so popular that it got its own anime and was dubbed a Pokemon clone here in the States. The main difference is that rather than one main character that we follow from generation to generation, who travels through various regions trying to be the best trainer there ever was, the original Digimon anime focused on 7 kids who went to summer camp and were transported to a different dimension, where digital information has taken on a physical form called the digital world and is inhabited by creatures called Digimon. While a lot of the Digimon are wild, some of them are pretty nice and 7 of them even attach themselves to the kids. These Digimon not only help their human partners survive by transforming into larger, more powerful forms, but eventually fight off evil Digimon that would seek to corrupt or control the digital world. The kids are eventually identified as the Digidestined and gain an 8th member to their group. Like Pokemon, the Digimon franchise is ongoing, but unlike Pokemon, the main difference is that with a new installation of the series, there's usually a new storyline, a new cast of characters, and a new set of rules for the universe. The first season, which was called Digimon Adventure, was pretty good, and I liked the following seasons, which were called Tamers, Frontier, and Data Squad. Adventure 02, which is a continuation of Adventure, however, was a pure mess. And yes, I mean both English and original Japanese dubs of the show. Yeah, now when you write your very first story, and everyone around you tells you that it's great and you should totes get it published, yeah, that's the continuation of Adventure. Rushed, poorly thought out, and full of plot holes and contradictions. Now, there are some good things in Adventure too. They're all outweighed by the negative things, but they're there. And really, if I continue down this path, this video is going to be something other than what I intended. Basically, for the sake of October, I'm going to be reviewing Adventure 02's 13th episode, His Master's Voice. Mainly because I think it really captures the creepiness of Halloween, and because I feel it has the most plot holes in the series. So Kari, who is a member of the original Digidestined, has been having nightmares lately. Well, really it's more than just her having nightmares, as some otherworldly force seems to be trying to pull her into its dimension, and it's understandably causing her some stress. Now, despite whatever problems I have with this episode, I do like how they handled the creepiness here. It even makes Saban's regular cringeworthy humor work.
This is bizarre. Hey, did someone flood the boys' bathroom again?
I was wrong. I still cringed. Terrible jokes aside, this scene does succeed in being unnerving. One minute you're sitting safely in math class, the next you're sitting in the middle of a foggy, otherworldly plane, and you can see nothing around you for miles but water. There's also the next scene where Kari starts to become static, as if she's really a computer program that's in danger of becoming corrupted. And I will remind you, this is happening in the real physical world, where stuff like this should not be happening. In the next scene, Kari is going down the hall to the nurse's station, and suddenly everything becomes grossly desaturated.
Hello? Is anybody there? Davis, is that you? You win, Davis. I'm scared now.
I really have to hand it to Laura Jill Miller. Her delivery really sells the scene's scare factor, and makes you think that Kari really may be in danger. To add on to this, something completely inhuman seems to be coming out of the darkness to get Kari. In a later conversation between herself and fellow Digidestined TK, we learn that this creature managed to get a hold of Kari and drag her into its dimension, and Kari feels that she won't be powerful enough to resist the next time this happens.
I'm sorry. I'm just not strong like my brother Ty.
You're gonna quit? Give up? Just like that? Look, Kari, I care too much about you to let anyone take you without a fight.
I hate the 02 epilogue. Why did anime turn so many of us into shippers when we were kids?
Hold on, for someone who said this was some of the bad, you've been doing nothing but having positive things to say about this episode.
Well, for one, we only have 3 main characters who feel like they matter. Kari, her partner Digimon Gatomon, and TK. Kari was basically the turning point for Gatomon to go from competent villainous henchman to protective partner. And you can't tell me no one shipped TK and Kari at the start of this season. Shipping aside, TK and Kari have known each other since they were real little kids. And it's likely that they kept in touch since the end of the previous season. They're basically best friends to each other. It's only natural to be protective if you think someone is trying to hurt your friend. But when Kari eventually gets taken into the other world, that's where the episode starts to go downhill for me. And the rest of the cast just feels like they're here for the sake of being here. They really don't add much to the episode, other than arguing whether or not Kari really is in the digital world. For those of you unfamiliar, in this season you can only go to the digital world through the aid of a digital device which will open up a portal called a Digigate, and the kids always go to the school's computer room after school to do this. Kari vanished in broad daylight near the local beach. So yeah, there's no way she can be in the digital world. Though to be fair, the one who assumes that she is Davis. And the English dub really seems to like emphasizing how dumb and stubborn he is. Even when he's told that her location can't be pinpointed by the others, Davis is still convinced he's right that she's in the digital world, only for the Digigate to refuse to open for him. Yeah, it's never explained why it refuses to open. It just doesn't. So if Kari isn't in the digital world, where is she? Well, it isn't named here, but later on it's called the Dark Ocean. And it's a dimension where every color is so washed out that it looks like a black and white movie, which is appropriate given the tone this episode is going for. As she goes down the beach, she comes across a tunnel with some creatures calling to her.
So what are you? Are you Digimon?
Digimon. I don't know if we're Digimon, but I know we're Scubamon.
If you don't know what Digimon are, then why are you calling yourselves Scubamon? Though really I could chalk this up to the dub. It's clear that they're just recolors of a Digimon called Divermon, and it's likely that no one on the dubbing team bothered to learn the species name. On the other hand, given what happens later, it's likely that this was done intentionally, as well as removing the oxygen tanks that Divermon usually have. Also, pay attention to how fish-like these creatures are. If you aren't getting the reference that this episode is going for yet, I'll explain when we get there. The Scubamon tell Kari that they used to live under the ocean serving their master, until someone came along and put bands on their arms, robbing them of their strength. Okay, and now we've come to the second big issue I have with this episode. For the first 20 episodes of the season, the main villain is called the Digimon Emperor, a human who managed to invade the digital world and created devices called the Dark Rings and Dark Spirals to capture Digimon and brainwash them into being his obedient slaves, either to attack his enemies or fight to the death for his amusement. Digimon that have been captured by either device cannot act under their own agency. And yes, I know Starmon was able to hide his red eyes until, for whatever reason, he revealed he had a dark ring on under his hat, but I'm chalking that up to bad writing. Kari and the Scubamon are attacked by one of the Digimon Emperor's main enforcers, a dragon Digimon called an Angelwoman. Feeling alone and afraid, Kari calls out for TK and Gatomon to rescue her. And because TK and his partner Patamon were with Gatomon at the beach calling out to Kari, they are transported into this strange world. Which kinda doesn't make sense. You'd think that the world would want to keep them out, but this world apparently has a control spire in it. A construction made by the Digimon Emperor to symbolize that that is the territory he controls. Prevents Digimon from digivolving naturally, so a new method called armed digivolving had to be introduced as a workaround, allowing the Digidestined Digimon to reach powerful forms, and a control spire serves as a power source for the dark rings in the area. Remember that for later. Patamon armored digivolves to Pegasusmon and fights the Ultramon, but because Kari lost her backpack when she was transported to this world, Gatomon can't transform in order to join the battle. Desperate to protect Kari, Gatomon instructs Pegasusmon to destroy the control spire.
Aqua Beam!
Nice shooting, Pegasusmon!
Gatomon! Digimon!
Digimon are the champions! Digimon!
Are you ready for the third issue I have here? Actually, I have quite a few, but they're all kind of connected. So, there are several levels with a Digimon's evolution. In training, Rookie, Champion, Ultimate, and Mega. Gatomon is a champion level Digimon, and Angelwoman is her ultimate form. Yes, the control spire is gone, which would allow her to digivolve to ultimate. However, later on in the season, it's revealed that the partner Digimon of the original Digidestined sacrificed their ability to become ultimate Digimon in order to prevent the digital world from crumbling apart. So yeah, Gatomon shouldn't be able to come Angelwoman here. To be fair though, that plot point was probably written by someone else who hadn't watched the previous episodes, even though there is an arc where the Digimon Emperor captures one of the previous Digidestined's partners and forces them to digivolve to Ultimate. But knowing that the partners of the original Digidestined gave up their ability to digivolve past Champion, it leads me to think that whoever wrote the scripts for the episodes past the Digimon Emperor arc didn't bother to watch the episodes they had already put out, making what is said in future arcs a big contradiction. But even looking past that contradiction, this season opens up with Gatomon losing her tail ring, which I think they're implying that that's what gives her her champion status, and without it she's just as weak as a rookie, so that is why she also has to armor Digivolve now? Yeah, even if that plot point that all previous Digimon partners hadn't given up their ability to go Ultimate hadn't been a thing, I still don't think Gatomon should have become Angelwoman here. Oh, and remember when I said that the control spires were basically a power source for dark rings? Whenever a control spire is destroyed, the dark ring will immediately deactivate, freeing all Digimon under their control in that area. Yeah, Angelwoman just kills the Adramon. Okay, granted, we don't see that this Adramon has a dark ring on it, and the control spire that powers its dark ring is probably somewhere else. But at this point in the season, whenever the Digidestined fought an enemy Digimon, their goal is to destroy the dark ring or dark spiral on that Digimon, because they knew that that Digimon was being controlled against its will. Yeah, they just kill their enemy. Okay, tangent over. Angelwoman breaks the dark spirals on the Skumon's arms and...
Much better. Now that's what I call a red-eye reduction.
What? You mean these weren't Digimon at all? While they're never named in the series, fans have dubbed these creatures the Digital Deep Ones, humanoid fish-like creatures from H.P. Lovecraft's literature. Just like these creatures, the Deep Ones live under the ocean worshipping an old god. They also occasionally come to shore to breed with humans to create a hybrid species, which, in the Japanese and Spanish dubs, is the reason that these creatures contacted Kari. And in the English dub, they wanted to contact her so they could kidnap her and force her to be their master's bride. Kari is a preteen at this point in the series, so it's creepy and gross either way. Fortunately, Angelwoman manages to scare them off, and Tika and Kari manage to go back to their world. But just when you think that this episode is going to have a heartwarming and cheerful ending, something very foreboding happens. Who's that? Digimon! It's Digimon! You never see him again. So that was his master's voice. And let me say it right now, while it isn't a bad episode, it certainly has flaws that can't be ignored. Whether Alex the dubbing team just flat out forgot rules of the series like how Digimon under the Emperor's control can't act under their own power, or would go on to say that the partner Digimon can't reach the ultimate level an arc later. There's also the last few minutes of the episode where the creatures tell Kari that their master knows about her and will be coming for her in future, only for it to turn out that that was an empty threat by the dub. Yeah, from what I was able to find out, this was meant to be a standalone horror episode, referencing the story Innsmouth. We do see the Digital Deep Ones again and try, but all they really do is stand around and stare at Miss Crazy McCrazyton. I did some research the night before I scripted this video, and while the Digimon Emperor himself doesn't appear in this episode, he did indeed play a part in the episode in the Japanese dub. He apparently discovered these creatures creatures and put the dark spirals on them, which caused them to worship him as their new god. Though they apparently still had enough of their own free will, didn't want to be freed from his control. Although that raises some questions. How was the Digimon Emperor able to go in and out of the Dark Ocean when we see in future episodes that it messes with his head just as much as it tormented Kari? Did these creatures take the forms of Digimon as a result of being captured by the Dark Spirals? Or did they simply assume those forms because they thought that that would make Kari more likely to help them? A recap for the episode after this says that it was all a trick, but even then you have to wonder how connected the Dark Ocean is to the digital world, especially since it can apparently influence things over there. I guess the later discovered Dark Whirlpool might serve as a gateway between both dimensions, but that's really just speculation on my part. Plot holes aside, I did like this episode. It was very creepy, and if it weren't for the scenes where Kari goes all staticky, you could very well believe that this was just all in her head. Again, props to Lara for delivering this episode. It's just a shame that I haven't heard her anything else other than Digimon and Scryed. While most filler episodes in Digimon have a lighthearted and comedic tone, this episode proves that they can do more than make lame puns to get a cheap laugh. With all that said, this is Night saying thanks for letting me share my thoughts. Please share yours with me.